All right, we are going to talk about Michael Phelps today, but maybe not in the way you're expecting. We're not just going to talk about swimming, we're going to get inside his head and deconstruct the mindset of a true champion.
Okay, so I want you to look at this number, 28. What do you think that is? Number of races? World records, maybe? Just hold that number in your head for a sec. And now, look at this one, 23. Pretty close to 28, right? So what's the deal here? What story are these two numbers trying to tell us? And boom, there's your answer. 28. That's the total number of Olympic medals Michael Phelps has ever won. And that other number, 23, well, that's how many of them are gold. Seriously, think about that. That's not just a record. It's a number so huge it's actually hard to wrap your head around it.
So that brings us to the big question for today. How? How on earth does one person do that? It's like a giant puzzle we're going to solve together. But here's the twist. We're not going to do it by looking at split times or swimming techniques. Nope. We are going to look at his thought patterns. All right, first up, the greatest Olympian, period. That's a title that's earned, not given. And to really understand what it takes to earn it, you've got to look way beyond the swimming pool. You have to understand the mind behind all those medals.
And that's the whole point right there. We're not just going to do a highlight reel of his wins. We are literally going to reverse engineer the mental software, the thought patterns that built this legend, the kind of mindset that turns raw talent into an absolute dynasty. So where does a story like this even begin? Let's dive right into his legendary beginning, because to really get the champion he became, you have to go back to the very start, where the first and maybe the most important thought pattern of all was forged.
Now, check this out, because what's so fascinating here is the contrast. At just 15 years old, he's at the Sydney Olympics. I mean, that's incredible. But he comes home with 0 medals. For a lot of people, that could be a crushing defeat, maybe even the end of the road. But not for Phelps. For him, it was just the beginning. Get this, just 1 year later, he shatters his first world record. And right there, that's our first key thought pattern, resilience. He didn't just bounce back. He took that setback and turned it into pure fuel.
Okay, next up, building the medal machine. Because once you have a foundation of resilience like that, well, that's when the real construction begins. This next phase isn't just about winning. It's about creating a system for total and complete domination.
So let's fast forward to Athens in 2004. You can see the machine is already up and running. He walks away with 8 medals. All of a sudden, that goose egg from Sydney feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? He put the entire world on notice.
And then comes Beijing in 2008. And this is where we see the next thought pattern really lock into place, mastery. See, it wasn't just about winning 8 medals this time around. It was about winning 8 gold medals, 8 events, 8 golds, absolute perfection. No other athlete had ever done that in a single Olympic Games. It's honestly one of the greatest achievements in the history of sports.
4 years later, we're in London. He adds another 6 medals to the collection, bringing his total to 22. And right there, at that moment, it becomes official. He is the most decorated Olympian of all time. I mean, he could have just stopped there. He was already a living legend. His place in history was secure.
But see, that's the thing about true legends. They don't just stop. They get to define how their story ends. Which brings us to our next section, the final golden splash.
And this is where we find our final key thought pattern, intention. He came back for the Rio Olympics not because he had to, not because he had anything left to prove, but because he wanted to. He wanted to end his incredible career on his own terms with one last definitive statement.
And wow, what a statement it was. He won 6 more medals, 5 of them gold, at an age when most swimmers are long retired. This was no victory lap. No way. This was a masterclass in focused, intentional performance. And now, let's bring it all home. Blueprint of a champion. We've seen the resilience, we've seen the mastery, and we've seen the intention. So let's put all the pieces together. What is the complete blueprint for the greatest Olympian of all time? So first off, you absolutely have to acknowledge his physical gifts. The guy was, quite literally, built for swimming. He's 6'4", but his wingspan is an incredible 6'8". He has a long, thin torso that helps him glide through the water and size 14 feet that work like natural flippers. He was a genetic marvel. Plain and simple.
But here's the question we have to ask. Is that enough? Does having the perfect body for a sport automatically guarantee you'll become the greatest of all time? We all know the answer to that, don't we? It's a clear no.
You know, one analyst put it perfectly. They said, until someone can beat that, Phelps is the greatest Olympian. The numbers are the benchmark. They are the measure of his greatness, and they remain completely untouched.
So here's the bottom line. This is the crucial takeaway. His body made him a phenomenal swimmer, no doubt about it. But it was his mind, a mind forged with the thought patterns of resilience after failure, an obsessive drive for mastery, and the power of pure intention. That is what made him a legend.
And that leaves us with one final thought. His story shows us that the patterns in our thinking can be just as powerful as any physical gift we might have. So the question isn't just how he did it. The real question is, what are the thought patterns that you can build to define your own success?